Okay, everybody's here. Let's begin week 9 of, I know what you're beginning to call it, one of the most enjoyable experiences of your life. Business 635, more specifically, the electrics case and DWAR bankruptcy. That's going to be, I know those are potential problems or potential lots of fun for you guys. So tonight I think we're going to have a shorter class, but I'm going to stay on afterwards. If anybody has any things they want to talk about individually or specifically about their work on these assignments, I'll stick around after class and be available, okay? We're going to talk about one more bit of acquisitions, more specifically leverage buyouts. We're going to talk about the definition of bankruptcy. That'll help you a little bit for your case 4 third problem, which you have to do for Sunday. And then we'll do a electrics review of the sensitivity analysis and also your paper format. I know some of you are already beginning to write it, but just some ideas about how to go about writing about this material. We'll talk about that. And then I'll shut down, and then we'll have an individual session. A couple of administrative ideas. We will be having class next Wednesday night just to round up all the assignments, make sure you are all completed with your work and any questions. Also, how does this class 635 lead into your 695 class, which is the final class you'll take in your MBA study, which everybody has to take. I guess they used to, in the old days, they used to call it a thesis class. It's no longer called that. Now it's maybe called a capstone class or something like that. I don't understand why they call it capstone either, but be that as it may, how does this class fit into that work? And some of you might be, some of you taking it now? Yvonne, are you taking it now? No. But some of you will be taking it soon. And so how does this class fit into that and the general overall things? And I think that'll be important for you to know that. So we'll talk about that next week. Another administrative thing is I have been told this week, and I was not aware of it, but the course evaluations are not up yet. They will be up next Monday, May 25th. You'll be probably getting an email from the people that do that at the university. So here I am spouting off about doing your evaluations, and they haven't even been sent out yet to you for linkage. I will post a link on that next week if you don't have that. But the period of evaluations are May 25th to, I believe, June 8th or something like that, June 6th, something like that. But I will have all the grades up by, if you post your work by Sunday the 31st, all grades will be up and running by Tuesday, June 2nd. Is when you can anticipate getting your grades for the class. Naturally, if you post earlier, I'll get your grade to you sooner. But again, you will get your grade if you've completed that course evaluation, which supposedly I'm told is due May 25th. So that's where that stands. All right. So be that as it may, anybody have any questions administratively before I begin? Okay. Very good. Everybody is all here, looking very healthy and alert and ready to sign off on this class, I'm sure, in another week or so. And you see, that brings a smile to everybody's face. I don't blame you. But MBA study is not to make you smile. It's to make you think. And that's the bottom. Oh, God, does that sound corny? All right. All right. First of all, what I'm going to talk about tonight, and what's a lot of this discussion, and I've mentioned it a little bit before, is this. Corporations, businesses, entities. This ought to be good because Vincent Van Gogh, I am not. So it's a circle of. Look at that circle. Have another beer, Mr. Hassey. Looks like a heart. Holy moly, let's try that again. I mean, that's embarrassing. Let's get out of here with this. No, all right, let's try this all over again. Gee whiz, person in my, gee, it looks like I've been nipping on the, get out of here. I want this. Yeah, clear it, get it out of here. All right, thank you. All right, it looks like I have had a couple of drinks already today. All right, let's try this again. Oh, the hell with it. All right. That's really good. I have a mouse here that's not very good. I guess I'll blame it on the mouse. Okay. No, one more time. I mean, this is embarrassing. This is something you should evaluate me on. This guy can't even draw a circle. It looks more like a potato. All right, whatever. Okay. So this is cool, isn't it? All right, this is a drawing. Again, a drawing of what I wanted to talk about tonight and have it in context of some of our discussions here. It's called the circle of life. The circle of life of a company. One of the things I always was interested in throughout my career and learning about businesses and how they manage successfully or unsuccessfully is one of the questions of them is where is the company in its circle of life? If any of you remember the movie The Lion King, and the little lion is held up when they die or when he was born. Sorry, Yvonne, this is a Disney movie, I think, too. When the circle of life and the little lion is held up by his father, and they play all the Elton John music and all that jazz, and it's the circle of life. In other words, a new life is being born. A new life is happening. Well, it's the same thing for corporations. I'm not doing this very well, but I'll get through it. It's the same thing for corporations. Corporations are in a circle of life, and I always was interested, and I always studied in working with companies as I did, is where were they in their circle of life, okay? Were they up top here at 12 o'clock when they're just starting out? Were they a starting company, a startup, financed by angel investors, financed by their own money, a startup at 12 o'clock? Were they a brand new startup? In other words, they were probably poor, had not much capital. They were beginning their business, all right? So that's like a 12 o'clock a.m., all right? It's a startup. The company is starting up. They have just the basic money to get the business off the ground. They're just starting up. And they're beginning. They're born. The business is born. Boy, if any of you remember back in the early days of Facebook or Apple, you're probably not old enough or too young, or back when companies are starting up, they have very little money. They just have an idea, and they need that idea to get to market. So that's why they go on Shark Tank, to get the capital to go to market. That's why they go to private investors, angel investors, LeBron James, whoever, to get startup money so they can get to market. All right. Okay, and then they go over on their clock, and let's say they get to around 2 o'clock, 2 in the morning, 3 a.m., all right? Let's say 3 a.m. And they get to 3 a.m., and now they got an idea, and they know it's going to be pretty successful. The business plan is beginning to take shape, all right? But they need funds, all right? They need capital. So what do? They get an IPO. They issue the stock to the market. They're getting too big for the startup Shark Tank money. They need more capital because now at this time at 3 a.m. in the morning of their circle of life, they're understanding that, we got a good idea here. We just need to get to the markets to sell this. We need to distribute the product. A lot of companies are at that stage today. A lot of startups are now ready to go IPO. When you ever see a company doing an IPO, selling their company to the market, they need capital to get that business plan to market. They need that capital to get to market.
Hey, Professor Hassey, I have a question.
Yeah. Yes, Jesse.
I don't know if you just missed or said it and I just missed it. Is there any minimum requirements for a company to go get an IPO, or can any company?
No,
start off?
that's a great question, Jesse. And no, there are minimum requirements. First of all, it takes an awful lot of money because when you do an IPO, the Securities and Exchange Commission's demands you do what is called a due diligence. And a due diligence means you have to have all the officers of the company investigated, make sure there's no felons running the company. You have to make sure you have public accountants review that the company says what they're worth and what they're valued at is correct. You have to hire attorneys to represent the interest of the making sure that these are all settled. You have to have an investment banker who goes out and represents you in the market to sell your issues, your securities. So a mom and pop business cannot do this. I think it's changed a little bit in my time, but I think if you need about roughly to $50 to $100 million annual sales in order to go to market with a stock offering. So you got to be kind of a big player. It can't be for the small investors. How do the small investors grow with the business plan? They have to go to the Shark Tank. They have to go to the Black Rocks of the world. They have to go to the all the companies with private equity investment to get that capital. But once you get to that level where you're getting big and you're going to need maybe 500 million, $1 billion, whatever, to get the company going, that's when you go and get an IPO because the market is going to stay away from you if you're a small startup still or still fairly small. So that's the general area. Okay. So we are at 3M and we get an IPO. All right. And so now we get the capital necessity to go to the market. And then by the time in this potato, this circle of life, we get to 6 a.m. And at 6 a.m., we are now fully funded. We're now fully funded. In other words, we now have all the capital we need to start trucking. We now have all the capital we need to distribute our product to all the markets that are willing to buy it. We're now fully funded to advertise, to hire the professionals. A lot of times companies grow once they start hiring CEOs and CFOs, like University of Laverne grads, to come in and run the show. You know, most owners and entrepreneurs are lousy businessmen and women because they're idea people, right? They're idea people. They're thinkers about products and markets, but they don't know how to manage a business. So that's why once you become fully funded in IPO, you go out and get the dynamic leaders who can take your business to the next level. And that's usually at 6 a.m. All right. You're now fully funded and off you go to the races. And then you get to 9 o'clock in the morning. And now, guess what? You start going into the dark waters of takeover. You become a takeover target. This company has a good idea and they're fully funded and they're going to market and now they're really kicking butt. Hey, but they're still so young, they're still cheap for the monsters to buy them. This is when this is when the Apples, the Microsofts sweep in and take over these companies because they're still cheap. This is when Warren Buffett and his company comes in with capital to start taking over these companies because they're still cheap, but they know these companies are up and comers and they got value. But if you get through that takeover battle, if you have strong leadership that says, the hell with you guys, we're going to keep on trucking. We're going to keep our business idea. We don't need your money. We got enough capital. And also, here's the key about the takeover at 9 a.m. Are your investors and stockholders willing to stick with you? Or do they want to cash out now and get their liquidity by selling to a monster? That's a big deal. So at 9 a.m. is the management of the team or the company still got the blessings of the investors? If they do, then they can keep on trucking. But if the investors want to cash out and say, okay, I stuck with you guys for 6 hours now, I'm gonna dump it because I can get triple my money. That's a big deal. But let's say in this example, you weather through that storm and now it becomes noon. Now it becomes noon. You've now been a fully functional company for 12 hours from the startup now to the afternoon. I know this is corny, but this is really true. This is a good analogy. And so at noon, now you start wondering, is your business model still functional? Is your business model still functional? About 7 years ago, Google was running out of their business model was wearing down. About 8 years ago, Microsoft's business model was wearing down. What was that? Microsoft Office. They've tapped out the market. And Bill Gates, that's when he decided to leave the company. He goes, okay, somebody else is going to take over now. I'll still be chairman of the board. All right, you guys, you have to find something. And what did Microsoft find? The cloud. They found the cloud and reconfigured their whole business model based on new technology. Google did the same thing about 6, 7 years ago. They expanded it with YouTube. They expanded with new products. At about noon, your business model begins to wearing a little thin. Why? Competition. Competition is beginning to figure out yourself. You guys watched that Michael Jordan show, The Last Dance, this past few weeks, and it was great when he was playing baseball, taking that 2 years off playing baseball. And when he first started playing for that Birmingham, Alabama team, I believe it was, his first 3 games, he got 10 hits. Because why? They were throwing him the fastball, and he could hit it. He had enough hand and eye coordination as an athlete to hit the fastball, and he was getting all these hits. And people are going, holy moly, he could be playing baseball. But after his 3rd or 4th game, guess what? The teams playing against him started throwing the deuce, the curveball, and then he couldn't hit a lick. He couldn't change. He didn't have those skills because he was a basketball player. He didn't have those skills to adapt to the changing pitch. Well, this is exactly what noon is on the circle of life for a company. Can the companies adapt and change with competition? With the eye of governments always on them, looking at tax structures, looking at liability issues, pollution issues. Can they get through? Is their business model functional at the noon hour? And can they change like Michael of Jordan couldn't? If he could have hit the curveball, he might end up playing professional, in the major leagues. Not too many people can hit the curveball at the major league level. And so he put in his time and he said, this is not, this is a good break. And now it's time to go back and win 3 more championships. Because Phil Jackson and Jerry Reinsdorf better thank God that he couldn't hit a curveball. Because if he could, he might still be playing baseball. It's the same thing for companies. When they get to around noon of their circle of life, halfway through their life, can they adapt and change to the market and to the competition? And this is where alternative capital structures or capital strategies begin to take fold. We're going to need new capital to invest, to adapt. Microsoft and Google had the cash flow. Some companies don't have the cash flow, so they have to go out and find partners to get to the second 12 hours of their company. It's kind of interesting. And then we get to 3 p.m. And now things start getting a little darker. Do we need to downsize? We no longer can keep up with the market? We're beginning to maybe say, there was an interview with Jeff Bezos a couple weeks ago I read in the Wall Street Journal. And, Jeff Bezos and Amazon owns the world now. But in this interview, and I should have copied it and brought it here tonight. In this interview, he said, you know what, guys, we're at 6 p.m. in our circle of life. That's exactly what he said. We're at 6 p.m. Amazon is coming to the end of their business model and strategy. They got 6 hours left. Now that 6 hours could be 10 years, 20 years. But at the same time, he's realizing that the competition, the market, government regulations, technology is catching up to his company, and he's no longer going to be the dominant company in maybe 5, 10 years. And so that begins to set in around 3 o'clock on the circle of life. Do we downsize, or do we find partners, or do we take all the capital we've accumulated and change things around and adapt to keep that ultimate value going? Because usually at noon, that's when a company is at maximum value. That's when the company is like Amazon today or Apple today. They're at maximum value. They're at the epitome of their control and capital structure. But then they begin to get smaller or get weaker because of competition, because of changing employee relationships, changing customer relationships. These all change. And at 3 p.m., we have to start making the decisions. Do we partner up or do we downside? And then we get to 6 p.m. And at 6 p.m., that's when we go alternative. That's when we decide, okay, we're going to stick it out as best we can for the remaining 6 hours with our core business, with our core customers, or we're going to find mergers. We're going to merge. We're going to acquire or be acquired. We're going to reshape this capital structure of the company. There's 6 hours left. Oops. There's 6 hours left. Can we reshape and rethink the capital structure? And then in a nutshell, the remaining 6 hours are either by restructuring and partnering, we're going to have further life, and this might go on for 30, 40, 50 years. Or it could be if we don't restructure, we don't merge, we don't get acquired, we don't find new capital structure, we're going to begin to slowly wind down. Slowly wind down financially, but also business-wise. J.C. Penney now is at about 10:30, 11 o'clock. All right. Let's see. Let's pick out another one. General Electric, Ford Motor Company are about at 8 o'clock. Maybe approaching 9 o'clock. Why? They're losing their market share. They don't have the capital to keep up with technology. Their old ways of management are gone. Jack Welch is dead. He's gone. A new type of manager is running General Electric. The world structure has changed. And so they now are they're on the downside, slowly but surely. And because of their brand, because of their name, they're going to last a while, but eventually they're slowing down. J.C. Penney has already done that. Neiman Marcus, the retail industry is at 10:30, 11 o'clock now.
Pier 1 Imports.
Pier 1 Imports, yeah. They're at 10:30, 11 o'clock. Why? They're bankrupt. Now, maybe they're going to be able to come out of bankruptcy and hold off that midnight hour, or they might say, you know what? It's not worth it anymore. We can't compete with Amazon. We can't compete with Walmarts and Targets. Our customers are dead. You know, here's one of the interesting factors, and they're looking at this at Laverne now. We have an alumni base that's been the core of our alumni giving and the core of university for 20, 30 years. But guess what? They're dying. They're 80 years old. They're 90 years old. That market is slowly going away. And there's no alumni group to follow them. And the university is panicking because there's no giving dollars. It's just like, oh, I love Mickey Mouse and I'm a Disney fan, but by the time I get to be 80 or 90, I could care less about Mickey Mouse. But what Disney and those companies do is they find new customers that like that brand. And that's why they keep going. But some companies can't find customers to replace their core customers. That's when you know you're past 9 o'clock and you're getting on the downside. So by the time we get to, let's call it 10 o'clock, we're either downsized, we are just hanging on, for lack of a better word, and that's not very professional. We're just hanging on. We're smaller now. We're still we still hanging on to our market share of a little bit, but we've peeled off some of the money making aspects of the not the money making, but the lower successful divisions of our company. We're now down to the hardcore. And then we get to 11 o'clock. And that's what your company in case number 4 is at. They're at 11 o'clock. All right. The Duraware company is at 11 o'clock. Should they go bankrupt? Should they restructure? What's happening? So at 11 p.m., it's restructuring time. That restructuring can be in bankruptcy. That restructuring could be just selling out. That restructuring could be taking the whole outfit taken over and eliminated and turned into another company. And whatever happens, by the time it hits midnight and all companies close, it might take, General Electric has been in business for 175 years. It might take, they might be closed in 100 years. But at some point in time, they're going to hit midnight. And at midnight, that's when the company is fini, liquidated, sold off, no longer have a customer base, no longer have a product that's attractive. You don't see too many 8-track tape companies around anymore. You don't see too many horseless carriages around anymore, except unless you go to an amusement park. You don't see too many, you don't see too many, well, here's a good one. You don't see too many people smoking cigarettes anymore, unless you go to Europe, all right? Cigarettes. There's an industry that's at about a 10:30, 10 o'clock. It's sorry for the bad pun. It's dying out. All right. Not too many people smoke as much as they used to. That generation is not smoking. Now, yes, the industry has created alternatives, the vaping and all that stuff, but historically speaking, I don't think that's going to last very long either. So that's another good example of you're losing your share of the market. The world is changing, and your business can't be part of that. Macy's, oh, Michelle, you asked about Macy's. Macy's is about 9:45, 10 o'clock, I would say too. They're going to hang on a little longer because they got a little bit more money. But can you put yourself as a millennial person? You know, I'm teaching 20-year-old students right now, and I ask them about, have you ever been into a shopping mall? Some of them go, why do I want to do that? I can buy all my stuff online. The only reason I would go to a shopping mall is just to be with my friends. It's a place to hang out. But to buy something? No. Shopping malls, that retail style in 10, 20 years could be a thing of the past. Remember, I've said this before, and I think I've said it in this class. There are jobs now that have yet to be invented. There are companies now that have yet to be invented, that many of the younger generation are going to work at, that nobody knows anything about them. I just take a look at my lifetime, you know, computers, software, phones. Good Lord. I never had that when I was in high school, not even college. So it changes. And so every company, every product has a circle of life. And how you finance those and manage that at different areas. I always ask this question in my business entrepreneur class. Where is your company in its circle of life? Because that will dictate your strategy. Are you at 3 a.m.? Are you at 6 a.m.? Are you at noon? Are you at 6 p.m.? Where is your company in the circle of life? And you have to make sure you understand that. You know, one of the main reasons why companies fail is because they don't realize they're failing. They can't figure that out. If they could figure that out, they might do some anti-failing strategies, change markets, change financing, change structuring, change bureaucracy. But usually that happens after the fact, and you go, oh, why didn't I do that then? So bankruptcy is a part of the circle of life. Restructuring, just as much as an IPO and a startup going on Shark Tank is in the early phase of life. How companies react and go through this process is what capital financing is all about. And I know a lot of you are not involved in the business side of financing, but if I was a manager of a company, if I was Yvonne or James or Roman or anybody, I would ask, all right, where's my company at? Where are we at? And how is the strategies and the management accordingly with that time period of our circle of life? Now, many companies hire consultants and hire CPA firms and Accenture to tell you where you are in your circle of life. Seriously. But if you have people who have MBA degrees and people who have management degrees and organizational management degrees, you can figure that out for yourself. And also, I always like to ask, and I did this a lot in my lifetime, I'm probably going to get a little bit too personal here, is I always ask when I was growing in my career, where was I in my career? Was I on the upswing? Was I valuable in the market with my skills? Or was I getting to the point where maybe it's time to think about doing something different because that business I'm in is kind of winding down and maybe I should change companies? Where am I in my circle of life of professionalism? That's kind of an interesting question to ask yourself. And I like to use this motto, and I'm going to definitely trash this. No, I'm going to keep this. This is a good showing how lousy I am at writing or making art. But I'm going to keep this and post it to Blackboard. But where are you? Where is your company? Where is a company you're thinking about joining and maybe being hired by? One of the coolest questions I've ever been involved with is when I was hiring somebody, and they said to me, Professor Hasse, or not Professor, Mr. Hasse, where's your company in its circle of life? This was like 10 years ago. I go, damn, where'd you hear about circle of life? Oh, we had a professor in college that talked about that. Damn, I thought that was my idea. But be that as it may, I thought that was a great question because I had to really think long and hard about answering that question. Where was my company in the circle of life? And so that's an interesting point of view. So right now in our studies, Duraware is a perfect example of a company coming to the end of their circle of life. And their investor has to decide what's happening. Where's it going to go? Is it savable? Is it doable? Or should it just be killed? Should we end and hit midnight? And that's where this kind of relates to. Where is Duraware in their circle of life and in regards to their investor, in regards to their management? Can it be saved? What can be done about that? Let's take a look at a quick video that talks about the end of the circle of life. I'm going to save this. Hang on. This Vincent Van Gogh.
That's a good question, Professor.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering, do you believe that somewhere along this way, if management makes the right decisions, can this process kind of be started over? Or is it like inevitable that you're going to peak and you're going to come down? I ask it because we do have some pretty notable corporations that have restructured, 20, 30 years ago, like Apple and other things.
Mm-hmm. Well,
do
I
you
think
feel that there's a point of no return or something like that?
Well, the point of no return, James, and that's a good question. The point of no returns has to do with the relationship of your brand in the market. If nobody wants anything to do with you anymore because of your products and your customer service and your distribution, it's done. Welcome to JCPenney. All right. But let's take a look at Dell Computer. All right. A couple of years ago, Dell was at 6 p.m. All right. They were at the point where now Michael Dell had to make a decision. And his decision was to keep the Dell that he thought Dell was, the culture of Dell was to go private. He did a leverage buyout. He took the company private. And he thought that would be the answer because now I can sell off some of my weaker divisions and I can concentrate on just making the Dell computer that I've been so good at for all these years and was very successful. But he was being outcompeted by Apple, by handheld computers, iPads and all that stuff. He was being outcompeted. So he had to make a decision. So he said, okay, I'm going to take this sucker private. Now it's 8 o'clock technically in Dell's life. And now Michael Dell is now taking the company public again because he realized that he needs more capital and he can't do that privately. And so now he's constantly, yes, from 3 p.m. on, companies are always thinking about restructuring. But James, to answer your question, you cannot start over. You can't go back being a startup again. That ain't going to happen. Mainly because of the product and the brand you have in the market. All right. If all of a sudden Facebook said, say, okay, we're closing tomorrow and we're going back to I'm going to go back to my dorm room and start a new business. People are going to say, what are you smoking? That's not going to happen. But what companies do is entrepreneurs, like at 3 o'clock, entrepreneurs will sell out and give the company to the market, and then they'll go elsewhere and start up another one. They'll cash out. The company will continue on under new management, under management directed by people who now have invested in the company, and the original person with the original idea will go out and start something else. So that's an example of that, James. But I think once you get farther into your circle of life, you cannot do that because you have a brand, you have a model, and people aren't going to buy it. If all of a sudden tomorrow Facebook says, we're no longer going to be a social media company, we're going to make athletic shoes. People are going to go, what? You're going to make athletic shoes? What the hell's that all about? Why are you doing that? I'm out of here. I can buy my athletic shoes from Nike and Converse. Why do I have Facebook athletic shoes? There's no brand. There's no model. You haven't taken years to develop that brand, like the social media brand of Facebook, good or bad. See what I mean? So, but it's an interesting question. It's an interesting concept, but your brand and in the market is going to establish your viability of continuing on, and you just need the capital to deal with that. That's a great question. And when you start running out of that capital, you look like this. And that leads me, very good, James, into my little video here. So let's take a look at this. Oh, good job, Rick. You just closed it. Hang on, guys. I got to go get it back again. I got too many files open as usual. Hang on. Just a short little video that talks a little bit about being at 11 o'clock in the circle of life. So here we go.
Your debts, the system came down pretty hard. Your creditor could put you and your family into debt bondage and force you to work however he saw fit until your debts were paid off or you die.
Today, thankfully, in the vast majority of the world, debt slavery is a figure of speech as opposed to, well, real slavery. But the stress caused by mounting debt can still feel like you're dragging along a ball and chain.
Massive medical bills, spiraling credit cards, out-of-control student loans can make the strongest among us weak at the knees.
If only there was some magic phrase you could just shout to make it all disappear.
I declare bankruptcy!
As you know, and Michael Scott quickly learns, bankruptcy isn't just a word you declare and your debts disappear. It's a complicated legal status that is designed to provide relief to those who are financially insolvent.
If you've cut your expenses down to a bare bones lifestyle and still can't make minimum payments on your loans, it might be time to think about bankruptcy. That relief can seem like a life preserver when you're caught in a rising sea of debts, but how does bankruptcy work? What are the risks? And can it really make all of your problems disappear?
In the United States, there are multiple forms of bankruptcy you can declare for debt relief. There's bankruptcy for businesses, farmers, even municipalities. But the most common forms of personal bankruptcy you'll hear people talk about are Chapter 7 and Chapter 13.
The first thing you need to know is that, believe it or not, it actually costs money to file for bankruptcy. $335, in fact, to file for a Chapter 7 and $310 for a Chapter 13. If you choose to hire a bankruptcy lawyer, you will also be responsible for paying the lawyer's fees, which will likely be somewhere between $1,500 and $4,000, depending on which kind you file for and the complexity of the case.
Chapter 7 bankruptcy is a liquidation bankruptcy where non-exempt property is sold and used to pay off your debt. It's generally meant for people with limited incomes who do not have the ability to pay back all or some portion of their debts. But the government doesn't just allow anyone to file for it.
First, you must pass the Chapter 7 means test. The easiest way to pass is if your annual income is below your state's median. This number usually falls between $40,000 and $70,000, again, depending on your state. You can find the specifics for each state here. If your income isn't low enough, you might still be able to pass the test by proving you don't have a lot of disposable income. To find out if you pass either of these tests, you can simply fill out government forms 122A1 and 2.
If you qualify, the court will decide what is up for grabs to sell off. But states usually have a list of personal property exemptions, such as a basic vehicle, some equity in your home, even cash you've got in your bank accounts and retirement savings. So you won't end up living on the street or without transportation. If you're married and filing together, that can typically double the value of exemptions.
But there's definitely downsides. You won't be allowed to use credit cards for quite a while, maybe years. And those student loans you hate, yeah, the lenders will have to stop harassing you with calls, but they're not going anywhere. Unfortunately, student loans are not eligible for forgiveness.
If you can't meet the requirements of Chapter 7, you might want to check out Chapter 13, also known as reorganization bankruptcy. Your property is not sold when you file, but you will be required to complete a 3 to 5 year court-mandated payment plan.
If you play by the court's rules and don't miss a payment, any unsecured debts that remain after that time period, like credit cards and medical bills, may be discharged or forgiven. To be eligible, you have to have regular income, unsecured debts under $394,725, and secured debts under $1,184,200.
But, as with Chapter 7, even if you successfully complete the process, there are certain types of debts not eligible for forgiveness, like tax debt, child support, and, yep, once again, student loans.
It's also probably no surprise that bankruptcy can dramatically decrease your credit score and will stay on your report for 7 to 10 years. This can cause issues with potentially finding a place to rent or even change jobs, since many employers now look at credit reports. But if you were already behind on your debt payments before you filed, your credit score is most likely already shot, and it won't make it that much worse. And don't despair. Bad credit scores are like broken bones. They're designed to heal over time, assuming you follow doctor's orders and don't engage in the behavior that broke it in the first place.
Keep in mind, this bankruptcy is also going to be on public record. It's not like you'll be forced to wear a scarlet B on your chest, but if the court decides to take your payments from your paychecks directly, your employer will be notified, as will any co-signers that may be on your loans.
Then there's one last thing you'll be required to do. Before your debts are discharged, you'll have to attend an approved course on consumer debt. These tend to focus on financial education and lessons on budgeting, and are designed to help prevent you filing for bankruptcy again. If there were only a place to learn these lessons beforehand.
Bankruptcy is not a simple or fast process. Filing and acceptance can take many months, and you have to be 100% diligent about following every court order to the letter and paying every bill you're still on the hook for, like property taxes and student loans.
If it's used as a last resort, bankruptcy can offer you the relief you need. It might put you through the ringer, but at some point it will end and you can start over.
And that's our 2 cents.
Thanks to our patrons for keeping 2 cents financially healthy.
Click the link in the description if you'd like to support us on Patreon.
Okay, now that was a little bit towards the personal side of bankruptcy, which I hope I didn't I was kind of worried about that. Sometimes people get a little nervous when you talk personal debt. But Chapter 7 is the same for corporations as it is for personal bankruptcy. It's liquidation. It's closing out. Whereas in corporation bankruptcy, Chapter 11 replaces Chapter 13. And that's talked about in the textbook, and if any of you looked at that. But it's the same thing. Do you have the credit? Do you have the ability to pay it off? And hang on, sorry guys. My father's calling me. What's he want? But at the same time, we have to be able to understand what debt is. Where are you at? If you're at 11 o'clock in the circle of life, do you have the ability, and do you want to go through the ability of restructuring and coming out of it, or do you just want to liquidate if you're a corporation? Now, it's a little bit different for individuals. Individuals, it's a little bit smaller, but at the same time, it has more of a personal effect. But corporations, they go through the same thing as well. So that's the setup, and I thought the circle of life was kind of an interesting thing to look at and think about going forward in this class, and we'll talk a little bit about this later and next week in regards to your capstone class and your 695 class. So now what I would like to do is talk about the electrics case and open up that checklist that we started for the last couple of weeks. Here it is here. This checklist that we've been looking at, and I know I've been in contact with some of our students about where they stand in sorting this all out, and how, excuse me, how they're getting to the base case analysis and moving on from there. And once you have that base case or that average scenario done, and you've calculated the warranty and you've allocated the inflation and you've gotten down to that, then you can go on and do the scenario analysis of updating it to the weaker case and the strong case. And now you have 6 spreadsheets for each product that kind of lead you to see what's the NPV, what's the IRR of the cash flow and that sort of thing. And then we get into the final form of the analysis of what are some key variables that are sensitive to the case. Key variables that you can do a sensitivity analysis comparing their changes individually to the NPV or the profitability of the project. This project is profitable in the average case scenario. It's profitable. In the average case scenario, they're making a profit. And I'll even go ahead and say this: they're making a double-digit IRR. Okay, they're making over 10% IRR at the average base case. So it is somewhat of a profitable venture. The scenario and the sensitivity analysis will tell you how they change from that average with these certain adjustments. In the scenario analysis is change and adjustments to volume, output. And also in this case, the selling price changes at those different levels. The sensitivity case is taking a look at 2 key variables and how do they affect the profitability at changing at 5, 10, and 15% intervals. Now, some of us are having maybe some problems, and I kind of spoiled you, showing you examples of the sensitivity using another case, like case number 3. But in in this case, electrics, the sensitivity is a little bit of, you got to think a little bit on this one. And if you go to our rubric here, if you look at the rubric in this case, all right, in the rubric, they tell you what the sensitivity percentages are: 5, plus 5, plus 10, plus or minus 5, 10, or 15. Those are your percentages. A little bit different from case number 3. If you also go to the original case study, oops, that's not one. There it is. If you go to the case and go to page 4 where the questions are, you will see in question number 7, use the average demand scenario, which is the base case, to evaluate the sensitivity of the project's NPV with respect to sales price of the product, of the motor, and the cost of the controller. Okay? Well, the selling price is pretty easy. You're given that one. But the cost of the controller, if we look at the exhibit for the case, all right, here's the price of the motor, but the cost of the controller is a combination of two things. The price of the controller and the warranty of the controller. Those are the two variables you have to combine to do the sensitivity analysis for that analysis. Now remember, a lot of us have combined the warranties, $75.90, $75 and $100, to do the warranty analysis for the base case and for the other scenarios. But now I'm asking you to change gears a little bit and determine what this variable cost would be per unit, with this as your cost of your controller and the warranty tag. So you're going to have to determine the warranty cost of $90 over 5 years and include that with the 1280, and that will be your sensitivity variable for that analysis. Why is Professor Hasse asking you to do that? It's kind of, if you think about it, here's why. For all the products, these variable costs are the same. The variance in the analysis is between the two products, CTX13 and MT78, and that's where the differences are. So I'm asking you to do a sensitivity analysis for this product at the different change levels and at this product, and you're going to have to calculate the NPV for the base case without any changes in the sensitivity, so you can come up with your base of what your NPV is for doing that. I didn't say that very well. Let me go back through that, because that's going to confuse you. I was giving you too much information the wrong way. So when you're doing the sensitivity analysis, you're going to have your NPV as your base case, whatever that is you come up with, and a lot of you have already calculated that. Okay, that'll be your NPV. But then when you do the sensitivity analysis, you're seeing how that NPV changes when you're just altering the cost of the controller and everything else stays the same. And I want to see how that measures adapt or look comparing it to each product. So you're doing two sensitivity analysis with two variables: selling price, using the average or base case as your base, and the cost of the controller, where you're combining these two. None of this is involved in that analysis. Not labor, not parts, not SG&A, and not the warranty on the motor. It's just the controller costs. And that's a key to that analysis, because that opens up a couple of windows when you see that analysis. And there we are. So that's your lead point into this final week or so of getting that pegged down, do the analysis. Now here's an unhelpful hint. If you do send me your sensitivity analysis, I will just tell you yay or nay. I'm not going to get into specifics of where you're off. You're going to have to sort that out yourself. All right, if you want to send me your sensitivity analysis and show me the variances from -5 to +5 and all the way down through it, or excuse me, -15 down to +15, and show me that range, I will tell you yay or nay. But I'm not going to tell you that how to do that or how to go about doing the logistics of that. That's up to you. All right. In other words, this is the core of the written analysis right here. This is the core of the written analysis to determine which product you would recommend.
Professor Hasse?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I know you said send you the sensitivity analysis. My question is, can we get a yay or nay on the base analysis?
I've already had many students already send me that, yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I will tell you where you're off and where to concentrate on in your base analysis. Okay? I will not do that in the sensitivity analysis. I'll just say yay or nay, and then you'll get mad at me, and I'll just say, oh, deal with it, and you'll be fine.
All right,
Okay.
so maybe you'll say yay or nay to this.
Okay?
So we've already done the warranty costs for the 165 and the 175.
Correct.
So now you're asking us to redo the warranty costs for the 90 and the 100.
Yes.
And then we're going to plug those new numbers into our average base case analysis with the 12.8. Well, say let's do a CTX 13. We plug in the new warranty costs for that, as well as the 1370, and do the calculation for the sensitivity analysis that way.
I wouldn't do it that way. You're going to get it wrong. I'm not going to say anything more.
Because the way I've done it right now, it gives me a very wonky variable cost line.
Well, remember, the $4,250 and the $2,500 are all still going to be the same. You're not changing those.
No, I
in the
know.
sense- okay. You're
Right.
only changing $1,280 and $90. Now, it's not $90. It's not $1,370. It's $90 for 5 years.
Right.
Okay?
But doesn't that go into the price of the controller?
Yeah. The combination of those two are the price of the controller, and that's the variable you use in the sensitivity. Plus or minus that. Plus or minus that.
Professor.
Yeah.
So just to follow up on that question, so instead of, I did this wrong. I thought, damn it, I thought I had this done. No, so I just, when I plugged in controller cost, I just put in just the cost of the parts, right? So instead of combining the warranty cost of $90 and $75 per year.
What? Why are you putting the $75 in there?
Right. No, instead of doing that like we did originally to
Mhm.
find the warranty present value, the net present value of the warranty,
Mhm.
we're only going to use the controller warranty cost of $90, find the net present value over 5 years, add that to the parts cost of the controller, and that would be our
Yeah.
average controller cost.
Now, remember, what you're going to have to do is you still have the 4250, the 2500, and all that up in your analysis, but you're also going to have to add that $75 in that analysis, but you're not going to do a sensitivity adjustment of that. That 75 is going to have to be incorporated into your analysis because you still have to come up with, that's still a cost of doing business. You just got to separate it out. But your sensitivity of plus or minus 5, 10, or 15 is going to be on that value of the variable cost of the controller of $1,280 and the present value of the $90 over 5 years. That's where you'll do the plus or minus work. You still got, don't forget about the $75 as being a regular expense
You can't take
in
that
your
out.
in your analysis. Now, a lot of you have done the 75 plus 90. Just take those charts and just fill that chart in for $75. Just fill that chart in for $90 and you'll be fine. You've already done the work. You just got to understand why you're doing it that way.
Yeah.
It's really not that difficult. It really isn't. It's just moving numbers from one line to another. That's all it is. I probably shouldn't say that. That's not fair. I mean, it's not difficult for me. I've been doing this freaking stuff for 50 years.
Right. So we're redoing warranty costs for
You're splitting
75, 90, and 100.
Well, 75 is going to be the same for CTX and MT. You're going to
Right.
have, all right, and then you're going to be doing a controller cost line with the 1280 and 90, 1260 and 100. Yes.
I'm not talking about price of the controller at all. I'm just talking about warranty costs that we're going to figuring out. So we have to do it for $75 only.
Yep.
We have to do it for $90 only.
And then add it to the 1280. There's your variable cost for the controller that you'll do the sensitivity analysis.
Right, and then we have to do it for the MT78 as well. That's why
That's
I was
right.
saying we have to
That's
also do
right.
that for the $100. Okay,
Yes. Yes.
okay.
Professor,
Yes.
instead of sending you the base analysis, reason why I wanted to set up an appointment, can we do a shared screen? Because I wanted to show you something specifically on my spreadsheet
For which analysis?
for the base analysis. I mean, can we do that after class or
Sure.
tomorrow or something?
We can do that after class.
Okay.
Tomorrow my schedule is filled up, Michelle. I won't be able to see you tomorrow. The next time I'll be able to see anybody is not until 1 o'clock on Friday.
That's fine. After
So-
class is fine. It only
So
take
that's
a
why
second.
that's why I was going to take some time out tonight and do that, because I won't be able to see you. And also some of you can't see me on Friday afternoons because you're working. So I might have a busy weekend this weekend too. But don't forget about case 4. Damn, Mr. Hassey, can we get the hell out of here? Can I start my summer vacation now? No. Okay. Any further questions on this? I'm telling you, tonight I won't be able to get to sleep. I'm going to get up and I'm going to do this analysis just because I enjoy crunching those numbers. There's nothing more fun. You know what the kicker is on this, guys, and I'm not making light of this, is when I send you and post the solutions spreadsheets to this, you're going to look at it and go, is that what all that was? Is that what that really? And you're going to get mad at me even more. All right. That's my finish. Oh yes, I was going to talk about this. So you're all done now. You've got all the analysis. You're now swearing at the top of your lungs, sensitivity, screw this, and scenario, I don't give a rat's ass or whatever. You're getting all mad. Now, but it's now, excuse my language, and now it's time to write. All right? Now it's time to write. All right? In an APA format, you're writing a recommendation to this company about which product, the CTX or the MT, you're going to recommend. And however you decide to write it or the flow of it, you can do it in bullet points, you can however you want to do it, but you need to answer these questions to come to the conclusion of your paper. Somewhere in your writing, I have to see the answers to these 9 questions. Now, they could be in the format of a chart, they could be in the format of a pie graph, they could be in front of a table, or they can be, however you want to do it. I need these questions answered, and then in your final conclusion to the CEO of this company, Mr. Livingston, what you recommend, yay or nay to a particular product, yay or nay to both of them, yay or nay to, forget about it. I'm out of here. Don't do this. It's a waste of time. But in your writing, I need these 9 questions answered.
I didn't realize I was unmuted, sorry. Can we answer the questions and also refer you to our Excel spreadsheet work?
Perfect. One of the best
Okay.
ways I would do this is
Okay.
answer the question and you create your spreadsheet as exhibits. Maybe MCTX would be exhibit A, MT would be exhibit B, exhibit C would be your WAC analysis. However you want to do it, you do
Okay.
exhibits. Also, another clever way of doing this is, yes, you refer to exhibits, but you highlight the key numbers in your writing. You might give a summary of the NPV, or here's where that chart would come in hand for the sensitivity analysis. Do that chart and insert the chart into your paper. I don't see all the numbers, but I see a nice little chart showing me the sensitivity or a table showing me the scenario. That's the core of the answer, is the risk associated with these products. So you might want to incorporate and embed the charts or the table of those risk analysis. Or you can just say, the hell with that. Just going to have Mr. Hassig refer back to my exhibits and my tabs. That's not a problem. It's not as professional, but you're not going to be marked off for it. Don't worry about that.
Would it be helpful to have a table of contents just to refer you which exhibit is what?
That would add to you getting 100 on the paper, yes.
Okay, I'm giving people all these ideas. I hate, yeah.
Tell Donald to sit up straight back behind you there, and we'll move on. All right. So that's how I would write the paper. Don't forget a title page. You'll get 10 points off without a title page. I'm a stickler on that one, especially at this level. A title page. Okay. It's 7:10. What I suggest we do is we turn off our mics and say a couple of swear words. And then what we should do is let's take a 10-minute break. And if you want to come back and listen in or ask questions about the specific case, we will do that. I am done with the lecture for this evening. Remember, I will be recording this so people can come back on this, but you are excused from this session for this evening. If you have everything wired or don't have any questions, naturally, I'm going to have office hours on Friday at 1 o'clock. Naturally, I'll be available over the weekend. Naturally, I'll be visiting you next week at the Betty Ford Clinic in Palm Springs if you need any guidance in helping you through this depression. That's a joke. Sorry, that's a joke. Many different opportunities to get a handle on this. But I am going to take a 10-minute break, and when I come back at 20 minutes after the hour, if you're not here, that's fine. If you are here, I'll be available to answer any questions or do side-by-side spreadsheet look at to share your screen with me, and we can look at some of those answers. And if you don't have any questions, sometimes it's good just watching what your peers are asking questions at, and maybe that might also help in some of your understanding. Fair enough? All right, so let's take a break, and I'll see hopefully some of you in 10 minutes. Adios. What do you think, Yvonne? You got a handle on this?
Ugh, maybe.
Okay.
I knew I had done the sensitivity analysis wrong initially because I wasn't having the straight cross lines. My sales price sales price line is fine, but I knew what I had done for the variable costs of the controller.
Mhm.
It was too easy. But no, this can't be right.
You know what you want to do to know that you did it right is redo the base case and put in just the $75 warranty cost on one line, and then create different lines for the controller cost. And if you still come out with that same NPV as you did before, you knew you did it right. Now, once you have the controller costs isolated, now you can do the sensitivity analysis correctly because you know you separated those costs and you still have the same NPV as you did before.
And the NPV we would got from the average base case?
Yeah.
You would?
Oh yeah. It's the same cost. You're just restructuring them differently.
Oh, that's true because we had done the warranty costs for the combined
Mm-hmm.
165 and the 175. So now we're just breaking those warranty costs out.
Yeah. So you have a base case for each product in your sensitivity. You know you're ready to do the sensitivity analysis when you redo the base case and separate the controller costs from the other costs. And if you get the same NPV, then you've done that correctly. Now you can do the sensitivity analysis.
Professor, can I pipe in?
Yeah.
So I think I was having a hard time figuring out how I would go back to the base case and start adding in those, percentages, because I'm affecting, prior to this, we were only dealing with, at least the way I was setting it up was variable cost of both warranties combined and the variable cost of all parts and labor for both.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're doing the same thing again, James, but you're now separating them. You're going to have, here's what you're doing. You might want to write this down. You do a variable cost for the parts, all right? Then you do a variable cost for the $75, all right? Then you have a line of variable costs just for the controller. You separate those out, you still should come up with the same NPV as you did before. You're just putting different lines to explain them. It's the same numbers, just put differently.
Right.
You can do that.
But in order to kind of go in there and change the percentage one by one to get those sensitivity NPVs.
Well, again, you're doing the control. You're going to have one line of the controller cost, right, which will be the $90 and the $12.80. Now all you have to do is that once you have that numbered, plus or minus 5%, plus or minus 10. It's the same thing. You just have to isolate that, and then you can do your sensitivity. And the sensitivity for the selling price is a no-brainer, right?
Right.
Right. It's just, this is where you separate the A's from the B's, is how you go about analyzing that and doing that, and then explaining it.
So we wouldn't have a line for the variable cost for the warranty of the controller?
Well, you can combine that with the 1280, couldn't you?
Well, no, because the 1280 is the price of the controller and the 90 is the warranty cost of the controller.
Those combined are the cost of the controller, correct?
Right, 1360.
Okay.
And we need the net present value of the warranty added to the cost of the controller, and then combined we need to adjust the sensitivity for that combined cost.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So where do we plug in the warranty cost of the $90 that you said we should calculate?
I'm sorry, I'm giving away too much here. You guys got to sort that out. You guys got to sort that out.
We got to build that into the motor variable cost, because now you have to. That's what I was getting back before. I have to readjust how the base base scenario is laid out.
Exactly right. But you're readjusting it with the same numbers, just
Exactly.
shown differently. That's why that's your test to make sure if you come up with the same NPV, let's say my NPV for CTX 13 in the base case is 19 million and change. By restructuring those costs to this new determination so you can do the sensitivity analysis, if before you do the sensitivity analysis and you realign those costs, you still should get 19 million and change. That's the key. There's one thing that I'm not talking about here that you guys are going to have to deal with, and I'm not saying it, but there's an added little hassle here that you got to deal with. All right, and you'll see that as you get into it.
Could you tell us what chapter that hassle would be in?
It's the chapter of I'm an MBA student and I can think it out myself. That's the chapter. It's not in the book. It's not in the book.
What would be the net present value of $1 for every time you said that?
You're pretty, I could be, I may be in Warren Buffett territory on that one. You're right, James. So again, you got the base case done. And if I haven't seen your work yet, I'll bless that. And then once you have that, then get the scenario analysis out of the way by changing the different volumes and prices and do that. Then when you're done with that, now sit down with a bottle of tequila to your left and recreate the base case with the changing around the variables like we've talked about. So you now have isolated the controller costs from the motor costs, and then you can do that sensitivity work accordingly. Just takes a little sitting down and readjusting, but you can do that. And yes, it will make me cry. Whoever's crying in the background.
No, sorry, that'd be my kid.
That's all right. Just take the kid down to the beach, James. Just tell mom and take the kids down to the beach where you are, and that'll be all right.
My wife's giving him a bath. Can't control that.
Yes, Michelle, please go ahead. Share your screen. Oh, after class. Okay. Okay. Anything else, folks? Michelle wants it private for me to go over her screen, so we can't show that now. We'll have to wait. Okay. So if you have any, I think I just gave you a big hint by doing that sensitivity. I think that could lead you to some success.
I mean, I could go back and tweak some stuff. I just wanted to show you my draft.
That's okay. We can wait.
Yeah, that's fine, Michelle. We can wait. Real quick though, you had said something earlier, like when we started initially talking about the case, that there was something about the beta, like why you gave us all that information. Do you want us to put that at the very end of our paper?
No, that is kind of like extra credit if you can sort that out.
But can you just put it at the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's an interpretation that you can incorporate your competitors' betas into your analysis. And there's a term for it, and I'm not going to tell you. It's in your textbook, but I'm not going to tell you. And if you can sort that out, that's kind of like extra credit. But don't worry about it. If you don't have it in your paper, it's not going to be marking. You're not going to lose any points. That is mainly.
Can it make up for the sensitivity analysis?
It sure can.
Okay.
It sure can. That's something you should think about. But yeah. You guys, you spend a little bit of time on that sensitivity. You'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. It's just moving numbers around on a spreadsheet. That's all it is. Okay, that's all it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, anybody thinking about seeing me on Friday?
Probably.
All right. I'll be here. If not on the weekend, I'll be here. James, it's easier for James to see me on the weekends. So, Angel too. So if you guys need this, and Darlene or Roman, you can, whenever, if you guys can see me, my schedule is open on the weekends. Tomorrow I'm all filled up. Tomorrow's my last day of semester classes at Laverne and Shirley. So I'll be tied up all day with Laverne campus students. And but once that day is done, available on Friday. I'm not playing golf this Friday. I'm you know what I'm doing Friday morning? This is exciting. I'm getting ready for the summer term. Getting all my introduction videos and my Blackboard sites ready for the summer term. Good God, it never ends. All right, but that's what I'm exciting. Yeah, really. Shake your head, James. I agree with you. But that's what I'm doing. So I'll be available Friday afternoon, and I'll be available all week. And the only thing I got to do this weekend is clean my garage.
Hey, Professor Hassey, I have a question regarding Friday afternoon. Do we have to send you a time that we would like to request, or
No,
should we just?
It's an open time per that link in your Blackboard. Just click on that, and I'm there. I stare at the computer scene from 1 to 3.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, so now for weekend, we have to arrange a time, and now I have to send you the link, but that's not a big deal. Okay. Again, you can send me your base case analysis, and I will point you in the right direction on that one. You can send me your sensitivity analysis. For example, let's take a look at this one thing here. And again, I'm going to be telling way too much, but
That's
I'm
okay.
a sucker. I'm a sucker. Let me get this up here. If you want to send me, this is case number 3, guys. So if you want to send me for your sensitivity and scenarios, send me your scenario analysis looking like this with your numbers, and send me, you don't have to send me the chart, but send me this for the 2 variables, selling price and controller cost, and let me see this spread here from top to bottom. In this case, it's 5 to 10 and 15, but let me see this spread, and I'll tell you, and I can bless it. That's why I'll know you did it right, by seeing these numbers here, top to bottom.
Are we supposed to be seeing something?
You're supposed to be saying,
We can't see anything.
oh,
I'm like, what numbers?
sorry, I forgot. Hang on. Jeez, I get so wrapped up in this and I forget about you guys. Sorry. Here we go. Okay. Sorry, guys. Thank you for yelling at me. So here's case number 3. If you send me this for your scenario analysis, you know, this here for electrics, and you send me this for the sensitivity, showing me for selling price and the controller costs, these 2 spreads from minus 15 to plus 15, I'll tell you that you're in the right ballpark and you don't have to go any further, okay? If you want to include the chart in your paper, fine, but this is what I'm looking for, these numbers here. From top to bottom, the NPV deltas of the whole spread of the sensitivity. If you want to show me these 2 little tables, I will just give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and then you'll know you're in the right track. How's that
But we
sound?
don't need whack, right?
You're not doing whack. Remember,
Right.
and it's just doing selling price and the cost of the controller. Okay. Damn.
Professor Hassey,
Michelle.
I threw in the whack anyway. You want me
Why?
to just take that out?
That is not being asked in the case. I will mark you down for points if I see that.
Okay, I'll take it out. No
Okay.
biggie. All
That's
right.
good. Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is nice work that you did that, but it's not professional presentation when you're giving me something that wasn't ever asked. So yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. That's good.
Thank
Okay,
you.
everybody understand that? So you can send me this stuff and I can bless it, but I won't tell you, oh, you better take a look at this way and do it that way, or I'll just say yay or nay on that one.
Professor, so just to confirm, because last week you said WAC was going to be one of the tabs on the Excel sheet. So that was a mistake. We should remove it.
I actually said that last week.
Yes. When you were
No,
listing,
but that's calculating the whack. So cost of equity, cost of debt, getting the whack, that's the whack tab.
Correct.
got
Because you
it.
need that in your base analysis.
Okay, misunderstood. Thank you.
Okay, so you don't need that, Jesse. Okay. Again, if you want to show it to me, right, but I'm going to take a couple of points off for that. Okay. Okay. Adios. Boom. Okay. I think I've given you some good pointers this evening to point you in the right direction towards depression and anxiety, but that's, that's the way it is. That's welcome to graduate school. Oops, what did I do there? There we go. There we go. Okay. Darlene, anything? You have any issues?
Not yet, but I'll most likely see you this weekend.
Okay, that's fine. Just if you're going to see me this weekend, send me as much of advance notice as you can of your schedule. Like on Friday, Mr. Hassey, are you available at 3 o'clock on Saturday? Mr. Hassey, are you available at 1 o'clock on Sunday or whatever? Just give me some advance notice so I can, work my schedule around and make sure that I'm available when you are available. Okay.
Will do.
Okay, that's great. Angel, how's your dog tonight?
He's good. He's got a bone over there. That's why he's not in my lap.
That's not your fiance. It's the dog that has the bone.
Yes.
All right, very good. Okay. All right.
Professor Hassey,
Yes, Michelle.
at the end of this term, I'm going to have the biggest margarita ever.
You deserve it. All of you deserve it. This is not an easy class, and you deserve it. We talked about this at the beginning. You're going to be doing some wacky things, so you're all doing very well. Really. I mean, everybody's average. I'm kind of offended. You guys are doing better than I thought you would, and your averages. So that's why I'm going to make this very hard. And no, I'm just teasing. No, you guys are all doing very well on this. This is good, especially under the circumstances. This is one of my pet peeves at Laverne. I got an email today from the provost telling me, why don't you take it easy on the students and grade them a little bit easier this term and semester? I go, really? Is that doing them justice? If they go on in their career or they go on into the 695 class and they have a professor there who's just going to say, all right, we're going to do this from the sensitivity from this corporation. You guys better know how to do it. And you're sitting there going, geez, I don't know if I know how to do this because wasn't really assessed in it. This is, under these circumstances, you're doing wonderfully because of being thrown in this online environment. We'll talk more about this next week. You're doing fine. You're doing excellent. This is, I'll be honest with you. Nobody's going to fail this class. Nobody's going to even get a low B in this class, as I can see. No way. You guys are all doing very well. I usually have maybe 10%, 15% of the students flunking this class. So you guys are doing very well, and that's in online. I mean that's in class. That's me coming to Burbank and teaching the class. So you guys are doing very, very well. So I'm very impressed. Very impressed. And I didn't do that to blow smoke up here. You know what? It's a true statement. You guys are doing fine. Even though I don't care for some of your background. Jesse looks like he's in a cave. I don't know what's going on there. And James is, hiding something with that virtual background. I don't know what he's hiding, but probably a child. And
messy room. That's it.
and Angel, we're not even going to talk about that picture behind her. I don't know what's going on there. What's that picture of?
It's actually just the picture that the frame came with. I haven't gotten around to, I just figured out I wanted it to.
God love you. You're telling the truth on this. That's a little embarrassing. I picked up on that saying, that picture, I don't see Angel or anybody in there. Not even a picture of her dog. What's going on there? And so here you are. Now you're turning red, and I apologize.
It's like a crossfade thing.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, that's great. That's excellent. That's a classic. I like that. You're good. All right. You guys are just staring at me here. If there's nothing else, I'm going to kick you out, and we'll go, and because I can't show you Michelle's work. So you guys okay? You're done. You're done for the evening, and I'll see you this weekend. We'll be around at the review, and don't worry about that. And think about, I know you're all thinking about number crunching, yes, but think about as you're doing the number crunching, what is it telling you about this product, this analysis? Because you're going to be writing about that. You're going to be summarizing that. You're going to be, talking about it. Think about that as you're doing this. What does it tell you as you change these numbers around to this analysis? Okay, think about that. And we can talk about that when we review on Friday or whenever. We can talk about that too. All right. Fair enough?
Mhm.
Look, it's 7:45. I'm kicking you guys out. That's pretty good. You guys now can watch the second half of ESPN reshowing Game 6 of Michael Jordan's last game.
It was a great show.
That was a good show. Is Disney pay Jordan for anything?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm sure he didn't do it for free. I mean, all
Yeah.
that footage from the 90s.
Yeah. All right, Angel, get a new picture and we'll be good there and finish up that bone. Darlene, take care. Don't worry about anything. What's that? What's that behind you? Is that like a bulletin board showing what we have to do this week?
Pretty much. I have
Very good.
going on.
Good for you. God, am I being nosy tonight? You should just say it's none of my damn business. All right, guys. We'll see you next time, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. I'm sorry. That's the end of that. See you, everybody. I need to get this hair is scary. This whole body is scary. All right. See ya.